The most powerful people claiming to be powerless. Taylor Lorenz, for example, writes for the New York Times. She's at the very top of journalism's repulsive little food chain. Lorenz is far younger than prominent New York Times reporters used to be. She's also much less talented. You'd think Taylor Lorenz would be grateful for the remarkable good luck that she's had, but no, she's not. Just this morning, she tweeted this, quote, "For International Women's Day, please consider supporting women enduring online harassment. It's not an exaggeration to say that the harassment and smear campaign I've had to endure over the past year has destroyed my life." Lots of people are suffering right now, but no one's suffering quite as much as Taylor Lorenz is suffering. People have criticized her opinions on the internet, and it destroyed her life. Let's pause on this International Women's Day and recognize that.
She didn't make.
She said that
she didn't say that she's suffering more than anyone else. None of that. She's just making a point about how harassment has impacted her and how, hey, maybe consider supporting women who have gone through similar things. It shouldn't be a difficult, controversial thing to digest. But of course, for people like Tucker Carlson, who was handed his wealth on a silver platter as like a Swanson heir, he has thoughts. Okay, this guy has thoughts on how powerful other people are, how talented other people are. I mean, homeboy can't have a single interview without looking as if he's the most confused person on the planet.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna track down wherever that particular B-roll file is being stored, and I'm gonna delete it. And I'm gonna track down every copy that's ever been made. I'm gonna delete it because I don't wanna see that anymore. But anyway, yeah, you rightly pointed out that of course he's what, 100 times wealthier than her, 500 times wealthier than her. But she's the luckiest. He hasn't been lucky. He wasn't just lucky to be born into a family that could provide him with everything he'd ever want. She's the lucky one.
What I find so preposterous about this moment is that on the one hand, the Democrats are actually advocating to teach about sexuality and crazy gender theory to 7-year-old children. And on the other hand, they get offended if we throw around terms like groomer to push back against it.
I don't understand where the men are. Like, where are the dads? Some teachers pushing sex values on your 3rd grader. Why don't you go in there and thrash the teacher? Like, this is an agent of the government pushing someone else's values on your kid about sex. Like, where's the pushback?
Well, I think about most of the teachers that I've ever had, sex ed or not, were women. So basically, what Tucker Carlson is espousing here is the idea that dads should go into classrooms and start pummeling women. That would seem problematic to me. And then third, and my first ever sex ed teacher was the pastor at our Catholic church, Father Malagreca. So now I'm starting to, I just had the vision of a bunch of dads just whooping them, just coming in there after he told us that it was a sin to masturbate, a bunch of dads just going in there and telling him, "How dare you tell my son he can't jerk off in peace?"
I mean, did your parents know that your pastor was a groomer? Think about it. Look, we know why this is happening. And it's not a surprise that the strategy always targets powerless people in America. I personally am not interested in hearing about the dangers of sex education from a guy who years ago on a radio show talked about how he was turned on by 14-year-old girls experimenting lesbianism on themselves.
But what makes Kamala Harris a remarkable figure is that in the face of changing evidence, she never recanted her support. By smearing Trump supporters as bigots, he hoped to advance his career. And Kamala Harris, of all people, can respect that.
Tucker, can I just say one quick thing, because this is something that will serve you and your fellow hosts on Fox. Her name is pronounced comma, like the punctuation mark la, Kamala. Okay. Seriously, I've heard every sort of bastardization.
So what?
That's how it is, Kamala. Okay. Well, but I think it's out of respect for somebody who's going to be on the national ticket. Pronouncing her name right is actually not. It's kind of a.
So I'm disrespecting her by mispronouncing her name unintentionally. So it begins. You're not allowed to criticize Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris or whatever because Kamala Harris.
Whatever.
He's literally the worst person on TV.
Who told Tucker Carlson that you're not allowed to criticize Kamala Harris?
No, but no, that's what they say. They say that constantly about everyone, because then that makes them the brave one who does it, even though you can't. It's always that you can't be, they're protected people, they can't be criticized, but we're gonna do it anyway. Like that's their whiny, it's their cancel culture thing and all of that you're not allowed to do all of this stuff. What a whiny little baby. He accidentally mispronounced. Okay, maybe you accidentally mispronounced the name of a public figure who's been on the public stage for literally years and you somehow still don't know her name, which is really weird. But then when you're corrected, you freak out like a little baby. You know, the first video you played, do you know the first thing he said in that video about Kamala Harris? He said, in the face of changing evidence, she refused to recant her support. Yeah, it sucks when people learn new things and won't change, doesn't it, Tucker?